Today, we're going to be talking about something that all youth quarterbacks need to learn, and we're going to be showcasing this clip here from our Los Angeles quarterback and wide receiver camp this past year, and this is a great clip of a quarterback who maybe struggles a little bit with a long stride on longer throws that I think all you young guys can benefit from, okay? So now, we're going to play this clip full speed, then we'll break it down. So we're taking a three-step drop, and to give some context, the throw that we were throwing here is like a quick seam. So like, for example, let's say it's a four verticals concept where we have an outside receiver, slot receiver outside. Two outside guys are going vertical, but let's say there's like a single high safety and the corners are off on the outside. So my two slot receivers are running seam. So as we drop back, we want to look to the left, get that safety to go left, and then hit this throw to the right. So we're taking a three-step drop, a three-on-time drop. Now, does everybody have to take a three-step on this? No. Obviously, a lot of people do different things, mechanically different things with their drop, but we're focused mainly on his throwing mechanics here, but that's the context of the throw. So again, he's taking a rhythm three-step drop, hits the third step, and then lets that thing rip, right? So to like, I guess you could say like the naked eye, if you will, a lot of people will say, oh, well, what's wrong with this quarterback is that you see how he like dips his head, you see how he pulls his front elbow down, and that release point is really, really high. And that's what a lot of people will say, and that is the truth, but that is not the root source of the problem. I think what a lot of quarterback coaches don't identify is why, the exact reason why that a quarterback is dipping his head. Plenty of people can tell you what you're doing wrong, but not a lot of people can tell you how you can actually fix it and what's the root source of the problem. Think of it like medicine, right? Like you have like a little bit of back pain. You don't know what it's from. What do? They just give you a pill to fix the back pain. They don't tell you what's actually wrong and what's actually causing the back pain, so it doesn't solve the problem. Same thing when it comes to a quarterback's throwing mechanics. And you younger guys and parents of younger guys need to understand this, that it's not always, hey, just stop dipping your head. Because if he does the same things with his lower body that he does, and you just stop him from dipping his head, his throw is going to feel horrible and the ball is going to come out horribly. What we need to focus on is fixing the root source of the problem, which 99% of the times, you guys, has to do with the quarterback's legs and hips. So as a quarterback, guys, we are rotational athletes. So whenever we throw, we obviously want to generate rotational power from our hips, not from our head, not from our front elbow, not from leaning out of the throw. We want to generate power from my lower body, right? So when you guys throw, the only way to rotate properly from your lower body is to be able to keep your feet inside of your shoulder frame, right? Or maybe just slightly outside of your shoulders. Like you see where he's at right now? That is a perfect base. But the step can't end up all the way out here, because when your step ends up out there, now where are your feet? Your feet are outside your frame, and it's physically impossible to rotate with your hips. So remember, we're throwing a seam, you guys. This isn't a far throw, but it's a throw that we need to drive down the field. So to be able to get the ball there, what he does is he dips his head and he pulls the elbow down. Any quarterback would, because they have to get the ball there. And this is my issue with younger guys. This is why with younger guys, and this quarterback, he's only 7, right? Obviously, you guys, like, but like, you know, as you get bigger, older, and stronger, it turns into a longer throw, but the same concept applies. But that's why with my younger guys, I don't even like them throwing deep. We probably throw no further than 20 yards because I'd rather have us focus on mechanics so we could build these good habits and have an efficient motion rather than let's just get the ball out there and just have terrible mechanics, and that's going to stack on over time. The more reps of bad form is going to add on, is going to make it harder to fix the habit, right? And harder to fix the problem. So what did we talk about on this specific rep? We talked about how he could shorten up his front stride, because the way he takes the ball back is perfect. His release is very, very nice. But if we aren't using my hips properly, we're always going to have that lean and always going to have that front shoulder. So what are some phrases that could help quarterbacks with this short stride? Because honestly, we want that front stride to be down right now. That front foot should be making contact with the ground. So now his foot is down. His feet are inside of his frame. So guess what's going to happen? His hips are going to rotate. The ball is going to trail behind, and he won't need to dip his head. He won't need to pull the shoulder down. Obviously, he could still think about keeping his head still, but it's not going to feel insanely awkward. If you're not generating power here and then you don't dip your head and keep your front arm super tight, it's going to feel like you're just pushing the ball and it will not go anywhere. So that's not the root source of the problem. Remember, the root source is his front stride. So what are some things you can think about to get that front stride to get in the grass? And that's what we're going to talk about. Now, before we get into that, you guys, if you're a QB and you would like to train with myself and my staff of coaches and come out to one of these camps that we are showcasing here in this video, check out that very first link in the description below, fellas, where you're going to to be coming out to 15 different states in 2024 for 2-day long QB and wide receiver training camps. So guys, we're going to be coming out to San Francisco, Orlando, Phoenix, Charlotte, Austin, Las Vegas, Seattle, Chicago, Newark, Birmingham, Houston, Boston, Columbus, Boise, and Los Angeles. So guys, if you want some more information on how you can sign up, the places we'll be going, the high schools that we'll be having these camps at, to see if it's close to you, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd absolutely love to have you out to one of our 2-day long QB and wide receiver camps. Again, guys, all these camps will sell out within the next 2 to 3 months, so we hope you could take advantage. So again, guys, very first link in that description below. Let's get back to this video. So what are some things we could think about with the front stride, right? 2 things that I like to tell my QBs. I tell them to think that the stride is separate from the back leg drive. So a lot of times what quarterbacks will do is, because they're trying to drive the ball, they're trying to throw the ball hard, they're trying to throw the ball far, whatever it is that they will push off of their back foot. But the only thing is that push off of your back foot is going to cause that front stride to get a little bit long. So I say you want to, it's like the day one thing that you learn when you learn how to throw anything. Step, then throw. So I would like him to be in this position. I want him to have that thought process of my left foot is totally separate from my right foot. The right foot pushing does not create my left foot step. My left foot step happens, and then I push. I push after the front foot is already down into the grass. Now, that might be complex for some of you. That may not click for you. Again, every single athlete is different. Every single athlete has a different way of processing information, has a different phrase that'll click for them. Everybody's different, you guys. So what I'll tell other quarterbacks is I think don't step to the target, step down. So you want to be set up in the direction of the target with your back foot, with your front shoulder, with your front hip. You want to be all lined up, but step down. You want to punch the grass as fast as we can with that front foot. And when we step down and get our foot into the ground, then it's the same deal. Then now it's transferring my weight. I can push as much as I want. But the step is separate, and we transfer after the step is actually in the ground. And guys, when you do that, when that foot is down and your weight is back and you have a good backstroke, you're rotating your shoulders, your hips are going to be the thing that rotates naturally. And maybe some guys struggle with that, and you'll have to tweak certain things, but you just got to make sure that your feet are inside your frame. Because having that big step is only going to cause a wild elbow, a wild head dip. Ball's going to be wide, ball's going to be too high, and that's ultimately what we work so much to fix on this weekend with that kid. And again, like I said, he's only 7. So the nice part about it is if you're a younger quarterback watching this, you have a ton of time. But you just need to understand the reason why. It's not always, oh, well, you just dip your head. That's why a lot of quarterbacks shouldn't just listen to their youth coach, who's just like, oh, it's your head dipping. It's like you're not qualified to talk about what he's doing wrong mechanically because you can't identify the root source of the problem. Anybody with eyeballs could identify that, oh, he's dipping his head. And anybody with common sense could probably tell you that it's probably not a good thing to do. But what people can't tell you is why. Why is he dipping his head? Why is he pulling the elbow down? And how do we actually fix it? And that's what you need to understand as a youth QB or a youth quarterback parent, that there's a lot more to it than just stop dipping your head. 99% of the time, it happens because of the base, because we're rotational athletes and we need to generate power properly to avoid those bad habits.